My God, I hate drugs.
Some lawmakers reacting to President Duterte's latest remarks. Senator RISA says Mr. Duterte's public admission, then taking it back as a joke, is, quote, a callous and cruel joke in the wake of thousands killed in the war on drugs. She questions whether the poor can crack the same joke without fear of being included in the government's tokhang list of being harmed by security officials and becoming victims of extrajudicial killings. Ontiveros says the president's remark exposes how he operates, quote, an unparalleled level of impunity. Magdalo Party List Representative Gary ALEJANO also condemns the move. He says a public official making a joke about drug use is downright insensitive. ALEJANO adds leaders should be careful with their words as they shape the perception of people in government. Senator Ping Lacson, however, shrugs off criticisms hurled at the president.
Gano'n naman talaga siya eh. Walang tigil ng kadyo-joke eh. So, bigyan na lang. Kasi unang-una, ganyan na rin siya nung kampanya eh. Naboto eh. Demokrasya naman tayo, di ba? So, hindi naman siya nagkunwari nung kampanya. Ganyan din naman siya. Andyan na rin yung kabastusan niya, andyan na rin yung mga jokes niyang hindi tama. Pero naboto siya. So, we have to live with whatever he is, no? For the next 4 years or so.
We appreciate all your online comments on our top stories tonight. Keep them coming through our pages at CNN Philippines. We're also live on Facebook right now. Malacanang insists President Rodrigo Duterte's latest remark saying he uses marijuana was just a joke. His spokesperson Sal Panelo says Mr. Duterte can crack jokes even if heads of state are expected to watch their words. Panelo believes Mr. Duterte's latest remark does not put him in a negative light and make him a bad influence to children. He adds minors do not watch the president's speeches, so there's no harm in his statements if children do not understand them.
You cannot deprive any person, not because he's the president, to crack jokes. As he said, he does it because usually events are boring. Ang test mo doon, pag walang logic, nagpapatawa ka. Pag yung audience mo tumawa, nagpapatawa ka. Pero kung makita mo reaction ng tao, sumimangot, they will feel offended. Ibig sabihin, hindi nagjo-joke yun. He has set a good example by being a good leader.
While the president is firmly against any move to legalize marijuana or for recreational purposes, Panelo says Mr. Duterte is in favor of legalizing it for medicinal purposes. This has been his position even before he became president. The provisional jeepney fare rollback takes effect today, but jeepney drivers and passengers are not aware of this. Commuters and jeepney groups both slammed transport regulators for not consulting them before publishing the provisional rollback resolution and for seemingly snubbing the hearing for the commuters group's petition to move the minimum jeepney fare back to 8 pesos. Carolyn Bonquin has the details.
Vicky and Melba still pay 10 pesos for their jeepney ride on Tuesday morning. They're not aware, starting today, jeepney minimum fare is temporarily back to 9 pesos. This is after the LTFRB published a resolution for a provisional 1 peso jeepney fare rollback following recent cuts to diesel prices.
10 pesos kasi yung minimum fare.
Sumakay na kami ng jeep kanina, 10 pa rin eh. Mas maganda pa, mas mababa pa dyan.
Just like the passengers, most jeepney drivers like Lito Tulyao are still not aware of the rollback.
Wala pa naman official na sa kanyan na ibababa na. Kakakuha lang namin ng fare matrix. Ibababa na naman. Nagbayad kami ng taripa na yan.
And there are those like Joselito who has been charging 9 peso minimum fare even before the rollback because he still doesn't have the 10 peso fare matrix.
Wala pa kasi akong taripa kaya 9 pa rin. Ganun din, magbababa rin naman
Transport and commuter groups both say there would have been no confusion had LTFRB consulted them. They went to the LTFRB office on Tuesday morning for the scheduled hearing on the pending petition to move the minimum jeepney fare back to 8 pesos, only to find out it has been canceled. The hearing has been moved to January next year.
Biglaan, hindi po dumaan dun sa tinatawag nating demokratikong proseso.
Dapat doon, binigyan muna kami ng resolution. Gusto sana namin formal para yung ating mga tsuper at pasahero hindi mag-aaway sa labas. Noong nag-increase kami, nag-antay pa kami ng mahigit 10 araw bago kami nakasingil.
LTFRB member Eileen Lizada was also not aware the hearing was canceled and the provisional fare rollback would take effect today. Lizada said she was waiting for the board to address her comments on the resolution draft yesterday.
We may issue the corresponding relief. Pwede. Pero in this case kasi, merong petition. So when there is a petition, what is the next thing to do? Dapat ang ginawa kasi namin noon, prioritize yung petition.
But LTFRB chairman says there's no need for public hearing.
Nevertheless, yung board resolution naman din po ay kinikilala natin yung mga nangyayari in the last several weeks, yung tinatawag natin yung pulso ng bayan kung saan yung mga pasahero humihingi na rin ng pagbaba ng pamasahe dahil nga bumababa yung oil price.
LTFRB also sees no reason to refund the jeepney drivers and operators payments for the fare matrix when the 10 peso minimum fare was implemented last month. Caroline Bonquin, CNN Philippines.
Still on the transport sector, provincial bus operators question the seeming exemption of some operators from the rule of ending trips at the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange. They say they were not consulted about the decision. Joyce Ilas tells us more.
Several provincial bus operators lament the difficulty of getting passengers at the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange. This after the LTFRB issued a memorandum circular allowing 195 provincial buses coming from Cavite to continue their routes inside Metro Manila, instead of ending their trip at the PTEX, as all provincial buses were told under the original order. These routes include Cavite buses going to Loton in Manila, Ayala in Makati, and some portions of EDSA. During a Senate hearing on the matter, bus operators claimed that some passengers opt to ride these exempted buses from Cavite or Manila because they are more convenient. Passengers who take provincial buses which end their route at PTEX still have to take another city bus to go to different parts of Metro Manila.
Paano pa po kami mabubuhay ng maayos niyan kung masyado na pong malaki ang nalulugi sa amin? Isipin niyo po, pasahero noong mga nakakadiretso, kahit na tayuan ng mga pasahero, kahit na makasabit na lang yung paa nila sa istribo. Sumasakay sila at sumasakay sa mga bus na nakakadiretso. Samantalang sa amin po, wala po kaming maisakay. Pag PTEX lang ang signboard namin.
Bus operators claim they were not consulted when the LTFRB issued an exception, just 2 weeks after PTEX opened. The lack of inclusivity in policy making earned the ire of Senator Grace Poe, chairman of Senate Committee on Public Services.
So, ibig sabihin, patay na talaga yung PTEX. Wala nang gusto dumaan dyan. At kung ako ay bus operator or bus driver, maiinis ako na bakit ito exempted, ako hindi.
For its part, the DOTR explains that some provincial buses were allowed to continue their routes going to Manila because there are not enough city buses, which would cater to passengers traveling from PTEX to different parts of Manila and back.
If we cut Dasmariñas, if we cut Bacoor, if we cut Imus, hindi yan kakayanin ng existing city bus going inside Loton. And that is what is happening now. We saw a lot of commuter demand na natigil sila dun sa area na yan.
But even LTFRB board member Eileen Lizada claims the exemption is unfair. She laments the issuance of the memorandum circular despite her objections to it.
It appears that there is manifest partiality to some bus operators, causing undue injury to other bus operators in the amount of lost income nila. So that falls under 3019, Anti-Graft and Corrupt Practices Act.
The LTFRB denies they gave undue advantage to some bus operators. The DOTR says it will study the exemption given to some provincial buses and act accordingly. Joyce Ila, CNN Philippines.
Using this strategy on pushing us to the edge in order for us to agree with what they want.
I-correct ho natin yung train law. Tanggalin ho natin yung buwis dito po sa diesel at gasolina. Ito po yung mga nagpapataas sa presyo ng bilihin sa merkado.
And about 3 to 4% of that inflation, of our 6.7% inflation, comes from the price of rice and the price of vegetables, fish, meat, chicken, etc. If we win, is to introduce a bill that first will bring down the tariffication of rice from 35% to 20%.
Let's try. I-reimpose natin itong death penalty. Tingnan natin, barilin natin sa lunita itong isa, dalawa, tatlo, apat na mga drug lord. Tingnan natin kung maghahakot pa sila ng drugs dito sa Pilipinas.
Ang problema sa war on drugs, mas malala pa yung gamot sa sakit. Ayusin natin yung baluktot na sistema ng hustisya.
Much has to be done. The government has to be firm and show that it's indeed serious in addressing corruption by jailing those who are really guilty of corruption.
How can you tell the people that they do not want to vote for this family or that family? Let them decide.
We have to pass that National Land Use Plan Act. Kailangan maplano po natin ang urbanization. It's about time we invest in the railway system.